All right. Just don't feed into it. Just don't feed into it, man. It's not going to help. Those were the words that were spoken by Notorious B.I.G. after the shooting and eventual death of Tupac Shakur back in 1996. He said, don't feed into it, you know? And he, told his, I say this because I remember I was watching this A&E special yesterday because that's what they do on A&E. They try to gain some sort of clout, I guess. It's like, we're going to talk about hip hop now. But anyway, they, I was watching this special they had, of course, about Notorious B.I.G. And I've seen that clip. It's like, yeah, just don't feed into it, this and that. I don't wish drama on nobody, all that sort of thing. But beyond that is, I'm just going to briefly talk about it, but I think it speaks to a larger issue. I'm going to do my best not to fan the flames. I will occasionally probably go there, but I want to make sure for anyone that does hear these videos is that, we see the hypocrisy. We see the hypocrisy today. We see the hypocrisy of feel as you want to about Brett Kavanaugh. I'm not going to sit here and praise the guy, but it's like, guess what? They had, there was this guy that went to his house, had a gun, a knife, and a can of pepper spray with him, drove in a taxi to his house, and they busted him. Said that he was upset about Roe v. Wade being overturned, all this sort of thing. Are people going to be talking about this? No. Or they're going to be like, whatever, who cares? For the most part. And, of course, it's the whole type of, it's kind of like the meme of, I don't care about that shit. And then, big smile or whatever from something else. It's just like, shooter, black shooter kills 4 people in Tulsa. I don't care about that shit. Keep that shit away. And then, of course, it's the big face of, the white Buffalo shooter and whatnot. And even just yesterday when I was listening to the tough talk and the cope simultaneously coming from heating up my cup of noodle from, that Brett O'Hara of Revolutionary Left Radio talking all this shit saying, oh, the fucking cops and they need to protect the little babies and all this sort of thing, But then, of course, when it comes to, he'll talk about, oh, the white racist neo-Nazi, or whatever of the Buffalo shooter. Does he talk about the race of the Uvalde shooter? No, he doesn't mention that he was Hispano. Doesn't do it because he knows how bad it would look. And then, of course, we hear him tough talk and say this whole sort of shit like, oh, you should have ended that fucker. Talking about the cops, this and that. You got to realize, me included, a lot of people love to talk tough, act like they're going to do something. But guess what? It's all talk. It's all talk. That's all people have been doing for years. They've created whole careers off of talking shit. They're not going to do anything. You think Chapo Trap House is going to go out there and do something? Fuck no, they ain't going to do nothing. As long as they have hundreds of thousands of people paying for their Patreons, they don't give a fuck what happens. They're just instigators. As long as they can continue to make money and say, vote Bernie or vote whoever or support my DSA or whatever, they don't give a fuck. Realize that that we are in a system that is completely hypocritical. Absolutely, completely. But the alternative is that you can't really do anything. The reality is that, is that ultimately people reach a point and they say, this is the line that I'm going past, or this is the line that I'm saying it, I'm not going past that. That there are some people that just become Marxist Leninists, and they will talk until the end of their days talking about settler colonialism and talk about misogyny and, white supremacy. And that's all they're going to do. They will just continue to repeat those same things. And you can't really call them out in their bullshit because ultimately they don't care. And then, of course, it's like, oh, but I still want guns and we need to have a revolution and everything else like that, but, and it's all promises, it's like one day, comrade. I almost thought about calling this one day, comrade. But yeah, one day, comrade, we're going to take over everything. And it's just, you can't live off that type of hope. You can't live off that type of hope that eventually one day, you're going to be a savior. You're going to be a freedom fighter shit. It's just, people can't live off that. I can't live off that. It's like when rappers say, I can't live eating that platinum plaque. I got to make money, right? It's frustrating. Absolutely. It is frustrating. But all you can do, I'm going to be very careful here. All I can do is if you want to get firearms, do that. But do it legally. Buy you a gun cabinet so that you can keep them safe. I would say buy a vest. Even that New York law is bullshit because apparently they just banned Kevlar. But get a vest. Learn to read situations. If you think that you have and you think you are going to be caught up in something, try to avoid it. Fuck what people say. If you want to, if they want to call you a pussy, let them. Don't give a fuck what no one says. If you can avoid the trouble, avoid it. I know I'm getting real schizo here at this point, but it's very frustrating. It's the same type of thing what we see with Proud Boys. Gavin McInnes, I'm sure, is like, man, I'm glad I'm not in Enrique Tarrio's shoes. Now he's going away. Even though Enrique Tarrio was shown to be an informant. He worked for the FBI. That ain't going to save you, though, buddy. He's going away. And now the Proud Boys are going to dissipate, and they're going to probably have more fed up, gay op shit that will occur. All I can say is the situation is not going to improve. It's going to continue to get worse. But I would say observe what occurs online. I'll put it that way. Observe what occurs online. You don't have to listen to my bullshit. I don't really care necessarily. Observe what's going on in the world. Observe what's going to happen in other countries. But be cautious with what you do. Be cautious with who you put your faith in. That's what I would tell you. Be cautious. And that's all I can really say. Don't get caught up in these fed ups. Don't get caught up in this sort of shit like, we have to do something or whatever. Just don't feed into it. Act like you're going to do something. Because that ain't going to happen, More than likely, you're just going to end up being a fall guy for somebody else. You don't want to be a fall guy. You don't want to be the patsy or the pawn who's made to look like a lone wolf shooter, even though you've been groomed on Discord or wherever else. You don't want to do that. You're just going to be in jail, you're going to be in prison, locked up, for the rest of your life or however long, and you're not, you may get fucked up on other things, drug addiction is a huge issue in prison, all that shit, And yeah, you could get raped and everything else, don't drop the soap, all those jokes, but you don't want to end up that way. So all you can do is just try to focus on other things. Avoid the loudmouths and avoid trouble as best you can. If you know that there's someone that you just genuinely don't like, minimize that contact with that person. Minimize it as best you can. That's all I can tell y'all. I'm going to go ahead and edit this down a little bit because I know I've fucked it up. But oh well. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoy that. See you later. Goodbye.